Hi everybody, it's Mitch from Grandpa's Backyard again. So today is an exciting day. Today marks the 7th week that our little babies have been growing. So if you remember, 7 weeks ago we germinated them from seed, and here's what they look like after 7 weeks. I'm going to let Reggie zoom in there so you can kind of see what they look like. Don't they look beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so here's what we do after 7 weeks. We want to do a couple things. If you notice on some of them, here's a God Love right here. It's a cherry tomato. If you notice, there's a little yellowing of the leaves. And if you look at a few of these there's a little yellowing right there. Well, nothing to worry about. What this means is these tomatoes have been living in peat moss, perlite, and vermiculite, like we mixed up when we started. They've not been fed at all. So they have no nitrogen, and yet look how healthy they've grown. So we're gonna do two things today, and it's real quick. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna prep for them going in the ground to their permanent home in 3 weeks. We're gonna trim some of the leaves. So if you look at this one here, this little leaf right here is called a seed leaf or a cotyledon, and that just fell off. But we don't want that, and we don't want these little leaves right there on the very bottom. And if you notice, see all the little hairs there? Okay, all these are potential roots. So when these plants are ready to go in 3 weeks from today, they'll be about this tall. They'll double in size, at least, because they're really gonna get going, especially after we feed them today. But we're going to plant them as deep as we can so that all these little hairs, all these little roots take hold, because for every root that's in the ground, they're able to absorb that many more nutrients, water, etc., etc. Makes for a healthy, healthy tomato plant. So I'm just gonna let Reggie hold that, and I'm just gonna kind of show you trimming somewhat. Here's a boxcar. You can see where these two leaves, I'm gonna trim these off, and then the two cotyledons right there. And then you can see what we've got. So all the energy is gonna go up to the top here. We'll do the same here. And again, there's no real magic here because I'll end up doing this at least a couple more times. But we've got all those trimmed. Let me do another one here. I take these two off. And we got that real nice there. Okay, so you can see, I'm not gonna spend the whole video trimming them all because you can see what the process is. You can figure it out, okay? So that's that. So that will allow all the energy to go to the top, and that's what we want. I'd like about a foot of this area right here by the time we plant it, so that I can plant those about 12 to 14 inches in the ground, because that way they're really gonna take off. So the next thing we're gonna do today, after 7 weeks, they get their first feeding. They're like little babies who have never eaten before. This is just standard fish emulsion, fish fertilizer. It's a 5-1-1, heavy in the nitrogen, okay? The three figures, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So we don't really need a lot of the phosphorus and the potassium right now. We need nitrogen, but this is just enough to give them a little taste, okay? The nitrogen will help them with the leaves and the woody part and growing into big plants. Phosphorus is basically for root development and fruit development. And then the potassium just makes the plant overall stronger, okay? Just kind of like when we eat a banana. You know, we eat that banana, it just helps us with our overall health. So that's what the potassium's for. So I've already kind of pre-shook this up. This stuff is nasty, yucky. I think it comes from Alaska mostly. When they process the fish, they grind it all up and it's in a yucky paste, nasty, nasty, nasty. I put a little bit in here and I dilute it just so it doesn't plump out and get all over me, which it has in the past. And then I open this up. I've got a gallon of water here. Well, actually not a gallon. I don't know how much that is, but it's plenty. And then I'm only gonna pour, look how little I pour. That's it. That's it, just a little bit. Reg, come on over here so the folks can see the mix there. See how it goes right to the bottom? And I'm just going to give it a little stir. And there we go. And you can see how diluted it is. But there's just enough goodies in there. So let's go ahead and give everybody a little taste. And they are gonna, by tomorrow, they will have already processed some of this. And they are gonna be happy, happy, happy. It's always best to put too little than too much. I've done both. I've fried them before by putting too much. And everybody who's gardened, a gardener, knows that it happens. It happens. But if you put just a little, we're due for some storms in the next 2 or 3 days, so I'll leave them out today. I'll even put some more water on top of these today just to drive the nitrogen deeper into the root system. And then the next time I pull these out will be after the storm, so it's nice again like this. And then I'll hit them with another little blast of that. And then I'll probably do that about once every 4 or 5 days until they get planted. And that just gives them an extra jolt, extra strength. And then they can start getting used to processing their own food. These are little machines here, is what they are. They pull everything out of the soil, they grow big and strong, and then they produce for you. And the bigger the plant gets, the stronger the plant is, the more it will generate and the more fruit, in this case, tomatoes. There's gonna be so many tomatoes produced by these 17 plants, it's going to be crazy. So what we'll do today is I'll leave them out for the next 3 or 4 hours, let them harden off, let them get used to the elements. There's a little breeze coming, and also, like I said, I'll hit them with a little bit more water. I'll finish up my trimming so that they all look like this one right here. So they're all ready to go. And 3 weeks from today, they're in the ground. And then they'll be really strong and substantial and ready to survive on their own and just produce like they were intended to do. Okay, so I hope this helps you. 7 weeks. I'll check back in with you probably on the day we plant. So that'll be 3 weeks from today. But that's what we're doing, and we're just gonna wait. So it's always fun to see the difference between 5 weeks and 7 weeks and 10 weeks, etc. I really like it when they start fruiting about mid-July because then it gets really, really exciting. So, okay, that's it for now. Grandpa's Backyard. Take care.